Morning, good evening, good night, whatever time it may be as you're watching this. The one, the only, the notorious, the toxic RJ Ben coming to you here, bringing you an interesting video. This video is actually in response to a tier list that would have been posted in the Barbados fighting game community by Overboss. He posted the tier list, and I thought it was quite interesting. It's an idea that didn't come to mind. However, the reason I'm doing this video is because that video he did, well, it left out quite a few players, myself included, and also he isn't as active in the Street Fighter community as some would like him to be, and as such he isn't really in a position to make a tier list because he doesn't play many of the Belgian players and too often, and he hasn't played many of them recently, and as such I thought it would be fitting to release a video that is more comprehensive in terms of the player pool and more accurate impression of how the guys are doing right now. Obviously, this is still opinion based, my opinion, but I try to be as unbiased as possible. With that being said, this is not a toxic video. No shade being thrown. No, not inciting any drama, not looking to hurt any feelings, and I'm being sincere about that. It's a wholesome video. With that being said, let's get into it. Now, I'm going to be looking at a couple of areas. I'll be looking at, mental acuity, dexterity, stamina, the character that the player uses, win rate in casuals and in tournaments, as I look to place these names in the various tier levels. I'll also be looking at consistency and execution. I'll probably put a little graph up somewhere or some point system or so in post editing if I get the time I remember. But let's get into it, guys. So the first player that I'll place on this tier list, and I'll be placing them from D going up, and there's no particular order as it pertains to where they are placed on a particular tier level. Alright, so because a player may come to the front of a tier level doesn't mean they're necessarily better than a player who is further down on that tier level. I'm not going that in depth. That being said, the first player that I'll be posting here is one Sly. Now, Sly is an interesting character. He's a very fun guy to be around. Never seen him salty. And he's a very casual player. He doesn't take the game extremely seriously as some others may, and that shows in his gameplay. But as I said, he's a lot of fun. He will come out and he will play in any tournament, regardless of knowing he will win or not. He's gonna come, he's gonna pay his money, he's gonna support the scene, which is what we like to see, support. And in his favorite term, lashes. So right now, I'm about to share some lashes. But honestly, Sly is, he's decent. He could be decent. He needs to work on his execution. He really needs to work on his combos. He plays Kage, and I find that with Sly, he will get a hit, but that hit does not confirm into damage. And the amount of stray hits he gets is mind-boggling. And if those hits were to be converted into damage, it could be a force to be reckoned with. But as it stands, he's comfortable where he is. And the way he plays, he's just having his fun, and can't fault a guy for that. So Sly, our feelings, we are we, how it goes. But he would be down here in the B tier. Now the next player would fall into the C category. There are no other players I would put in B. The next player goes up to C. The first player I'll put here is Beige Spartan. Beige Spartan is a decent player. He's a good player. He comes from Street Fighter 4. I saw his DJ sharing a lot of lashes in Street Fighter 4. He has some legacy skill. However, his time in Street Fighter 5, he had a rough entry. He was playing at Puma. He didn't have a lot of time playing all life, work, etc. But as of recent, he's actually been getting better. He has a poison now in his main character. Right, he's a lot more composed when he's playing, because one of the things with Beige Spartan is, he used to get a bit flustered, and that would affect his gameplay. But I find recently he's complaining a lot less about the game. He's more composed when he's playing. He's holding his own against King Bubbles and the likes of such. I think he actually beat Matagoken in some matches the other day in casuals. But as of right now, as it pertains to his consistency and how recently he's actually been doing better, that's why I can't place him any higher. He's now starting to come into his own, so probably in a subsequent tier list he will go up. But I must also say, he is looking to make some strides, him and Base Spartan, as it pertains to getting a new home spot for the gamers. Retro Gaming Cafe and Lounge. You have to check that out on Hastings Main Street. Just before the Trident Insurance Building, big purple building, you can't miss it. So that's going to be our new base. So no more excuses, you have a spot to come out and play some games and get your name on this tier list. Moving on, the next C player that I'll put here is oh dear, Shin. Where's Shin? Shin's gamer tag. I can't remember Shin's gamer tag now. But Shin goes here. Now, Shin, he's in C because he plays Zangief and he has a Barog now. But again, he's one of those players who is actually getting better. He played Metagoken the other night and he defeated him in a 5-0, I think, in the first 5 set. He played Curtis and beat Curtis badly as well. 10-4, I think the score was. I mean, Curtis started out hot and sweaty, but then he fizzled out. And, he got the first 3 games straight. Oh, he started to talk, and then he came back and was washed off 10-4. But Curtis is a trooper, and we'll get to him a bit later. Shane goes in C. He needs to work on his consistency. He needs to work on his stamina. Sometimes he gets a bit. He runs out of energy basically, and it affects his decision making. But as of right now, I will keep him in the wrong C. He hasn't had the best tournament showings, but he's getting better. The next character. Sorry, keep saying character. The next player that goes into C would be Mr. Leroy. Don't know his gamer tag either, but Leroy goes in C. Now Leroy is in C because he doesn't play that often. At least I don't see him playing that often. I've run a few casual sets with him since he started playing. What's the character's name? Falk. I played him a couple times in person on CFN. And in playing him, I've bested him a lot of the time. Sometimes he's beaten me. He has a very defensive play style, and it can be very annoying, especially with that character Falk. Excellent space control. He has great fundamentals. Obviously, coming from Street Fighter 4, he was a strong Street Fighter 4 player. He used Rose, and he was one of the best. Going toe-to-toe with the likes of Steve, the same overboss. They had a rivalry going on. Not sure who bested who. I think Leroy may have come out on top as it pertains to that rivalry and overall wins in the Street Fighter 4 era. But currently, he sits at C. He's not the strongest player, but he has a strong legacy backing him. He doesn't come out the tournament, so there's no tournament performance to speak of. And so we'll leave him at C. He may come out, he may get the extra time to come out as the scene grows and as the cafe grows, but we'll see how that goes. The next player to go into the C category will have to be Curtis. I don't want to put him in D. I don't believe he belongs in D. I'll put him in C. He's a C minus. I don't have a C minus here, but I'll put him in C minus. Curtis is a Call of Duty player. He will tell you, he already plays Street Fighter 5. He's a Call of Duty player. Now, stamina is definitely his biggest issue. Curtis will start out hot and sweaty, get 2-3 very good wins, and then from there it's all downhill. One of his problems is he becomes very tunnel vision as he's playing. He has you can pick up on his habits. He has a particular way he likes to activate his V-trigger. Playing he using V-trigger too. He has a particular way he wants to activate, and even if he gets a stray hit, and that stray hit can lead to a kill, because he's so tunnel vision in the way he wants to activate that trigger, he would miss that opportunity. So he needs to work on that. And then some critical and inopportune drops that he has. So he has to work on his execution and his that flow chart play where it can be a real disadvantage to him. But all in all, he's a strong player. I never saw him play Street Fighter 4. He hasn't come out to many tournaments, so really no high tournament places to speak of. But he goes in C. And I think that is it for the C tier. Actually, no, you know what? The next player we'll put in C is Kyomel. No. Excuse me. That's not Corona, I promise you. Kyomel is a competent fighting game player. He was one of the best, if not the best, in Marvel 3 here on the island. Ultimate Marvel 3. He represented Barbados on a regional level, played against the likes of Combo Fiend and some very powerful Marvel 3 players back in that time. He was an excellent Mortal Kombat X player, probably again the best, if not one of the best. He played in, he's been exposed to gameplay with pro MKX players. He played in the online MKX tournaments, and he amassed a good amount of points. He's a good fighting game player. However, when it comes to Street Fighter 5, I don't think he takes it very seriously. Kyomel is a troll, and his trolling attitude is seen and is very evident in his gameplay. When he was playing Nash, all the backdashing and just playing to troll and to annoy the hell out of you. We called him Back Nash, the character that he was playing. We call that character Back Nash. However, that aside, I think he's playing Kage now. He has a decent Kage. But if he was to take this game seriously, he would be able to rise to the top and do better. He doesn't. The last tournament also he played in, he didn't rank too high. He didn't place too high. But that being aside, his overall competency level in the game is good. It's high. But in terms of his performance in casuals, etc., I would say he is in the C tier. I think that is it for C. Now, a point of contention for me is where to place Nick. I want to place him in C. I don't know if I could put him in B. Maybe I should have done like a B plus, C plus kind of thing. And I tell you why I'm conflicted. Nick, in the casual group, he has a lower win rate, but as of recent, he's been getting better with his Laura. His last performance at the tournament where he beat Mr. Glass was quite impressive, to be honest. It was a wash. I think it was 3-1, I think it was. But since then, in casuals, he hasn't performed to that level. And that's why I say this tier, this is going to be based not only on the tournament play, but in casuals, because we don't have that many tournaments. We do a lot more casual play than in tournament. And so because somebody does well in 1 or 2 tournaments, I can't place them high in the tier list. If when it comes to casual plays in the first 5s and the first 3s and the first 10s that we do that aren't streamed, they don't perform as well. And so he is a tentative C for me. His major issue is the execution. Sometimes he drops combos that would, even in that set with Mr. Glass, he dropped a lot of combos. But his weaknesses are kind of glaring with the throw tech weakness and the combo drops. He's one that fizzles out after a while as well. Although I was told by Mr. Glass, his stamina has increased. I don't know if he has a new girlfriend and she, asked him to work on his stamina, but Mr. Glass said that his stamina has gotten better as it pertains to his concentration levels in the matches, and so I'll leave him at C for now. As I said, maybe a change will come in a subsequent tier list, but for now, excuse me again, but for now, I will leave him in the C tier. Now, moving up to B, we have the first player that I'll put in B is Mr. Metagoken. You see this picture here, he's looking like a child. I guess he has some jellyfish genes, that when they reach a certain age, they regress to the baby stage and then start growing again. So Metagoken, a strong Alex player, a strong Street Fighter 4 player. I think he played Goken. Of course he played Goken. I mean, his name is Metagoken in Street Fighter 4. He was one of the best in Street Fighter 4 as well. And he's in B tier. I think though he's limited by Alex. Alex is not a very strong character, but he uses Alex, to, quite optimally. Honestly, he's very frustrating to fight against. Versus his Alex. The only issue I would say he finds himself sometimes he gets impatient because Alex doesn't have a lot of getting tools, and when he's fighting a character that keeps you up well, I find he tends to take some unnecessary risks to get in, and that could cause him the match. But he's a very strong player. I will leave him at B. Next player to go in B would have to be King Bubbles. No, Mr. Bubbles needs no introduction. He comes all the way back from his own arcade. Very strong CBS 2 player, one of the best. Very strong Street Fighter 4 player. Well known in St. Lucia for his Blanca. He went over there and caused some trouble, caused some mass destruction down there. And he's fought against the best, both regionally, locally, and internationally, having fought L.A. Joe and K. Brad when he was down here. No doubt gaining a lot of experience from those matches. I remember me and King Bubbles, because I was new to Street Fighter, we had a war going on, but that war has been put aside now, and he's in the B tier. He's gotten a lot stronger. He has a Blanca now, very annoying character, and we know King Bubbles is a very patient player. I'll use the word patient. Stamina off the roof. He will not come to you necessarily. You will have to go to him. He plays to frustrate you. But he really utilizes his characters quite optimally, and so he goes in B. He has had a couple of tournament wins going back to World Wednesdays, and he does well in the offline casuals as well in the first fights and first attempts. I mean, everybody has a demon, and as of right now, his demon is Mr. Glass and Mr. Metagorkin. Although I think he beat Metagorkin in their last first to 5 or first to 10. I don't remember which it was. But he did come out on top. He's a solid B tier. The next, actually, I'll leave Pablo for a bit later, and I'll put myself here in B. Now, why am I in B? Mr. RJ Bim. I think, speaking objectively, that I've grown a lot in the game coming from Tekken. The last Street Fighter play would have been Third Strike, I think. And I came a long way under the tutelage of Mr. Glass. And my weaknesses, at first it was stamina. I was an impatient player, not too keen in playing much neutral, but I believe that I've gotten a lot better. I'm able to play a lot better in the neutral, and my problem is probably execution on the dive kicks. But I'm able to pick up on opponent timings quite well. That's why sometimes you will see a well cannon drill and it will hit me like, what? That man is crazy. But I believe I have a good grasp on my opponent's timing. Creativity in terms of trying to outwit my opponent, etc. So I would place myself in B. Obviously, this is opinion based. You in the comment section can go in the comments and leave your own opinion on how this tier list is going or how it has ended up by the time I'm finished. That being said, the next player to go in B, I have to put Pablo here. Now, whether or not we agree or think that Pablo is a very, very strong player is beside the point. He came off a ridiculous win streak leading up to last year's AnimeCon. He's the AnimeCon champ. That being said, I think I placed second place in the AnimeCon tournament, which is arguably the bigger Street Fighter tournament of the year last year. But recently, he's not been doing as well. He's not been as dominant, losing quite a bit to the casual players, but he's no pushover. It's a back and forth thing. But he's a solid B. His problem, though, I would say, is creativity. He idolizes Justin Wong, so we know that says a lot about his play style. But when it comes to creativity and actually, getting the opponent's life, that's where he struggles. He's a very defensive player, and he kind of relies too heavily on you coming into him. But if he works on that, he could be a more of a rounded player. But he has a lot of knowledge on the game, and a lot of he's in contact with pros all the time. He's always labbing, so he's a very enthusiastic Street Fighter 5 player, and I think that is it for the B tier. Moving into A, we have Mr. Glass. Mr. Glass is arguably the strong, I want to say, Yeah, he's one of the strongest players in the casual scene right now, in our offline scene. He wins most of his first fights, most of his first attempts. Unfortunately, a lot of them aren't streamed. The last showing that we would have seen streamed or recorded would have been his loss to Nick the Prick. Oh, Yato God, right? Sorry, to Yato God in the last tournament, which was an anomaly. You know, he conceded that he underestimated Nick, and that's why he got washed off. But since then, he redeemed himself, and he's behind Nick. Now, Mr. Glass, I always tell him he has a high fighter IQ. He's always scheming. Sometimes he turns off his brain, but you know, I'm gonna say that a lot of his wins come from that thieving character he plays in G, and he knows that I don't respect G, but that's my senpai, so I won't say any more there. And Overboss. Now I will place Overboss in A. It was between B or A, but I'll place him in A. And the reason I'll place him in A is, you know, ego aside, personality aside, objectively speaking, he is a very competent player. He's a strong fighting game player. He was decent in Tekken back in the Tekken 5 days, in Tekken 6 days. He took up Street Fighter 4 and became one of the best in Street Fighter 4. I mean, there were a few players that he could have best, but we all have our demons. But honestly, he's a strong player. He has excellent fundamentals. He's patient when he needs to be. He's strong understanding of neutral, great character knowledge, etc. So he's a good player, ego and personality aside. Take that, you know, don't take that, not taking that away from him. He's a strong player. So he will stay here in A. Unfortunately, he isn't a big part of the Street Fighter scene right now. He doesn't come out. Hopefully, with the opening of the lounge, he'll come out and he'll put some action behind his words. And finally, we have here one, oh dear, Lamar. I can't remember his gamer tag, but we have Lamar here. Oh, Lamar, there are very few characters, or sorry, very few players I play against where I feel as though I just don't know what to do in any game. There are very few times that I lose a match where I'm like, I just was outplayed. But when I play Lamar, I feel like I'm just being outplayed. He has a strong understanding of that character he plays Urian. He has a high fighter IQ, great mental acuity, dexterity. You know, he's patient when he needs to be. He turns off his brain when he needs to. I know that he rumbles with Ulrich sometimes, that infamous Laura player from St. Lucia, and I think he normally bests Ulrich. And even Mr. Glass, I said, you know what, when he plays Lamar, it's like, whoa, I mean, sometimes he just feels totally outplayed. And I mean, I haven't really included CFN standings that much in this tier list, because, you know, it's up to if you play online, how often you play online. But that being said, he's the only master rank in Barbados, and master rank is not easy to reach online in Street Fighter 5. You know, he's always labbing. A strong player. As much as I hate to say it, I have a little rivalry with him myself. But he's a strong player. So just to recap, we have Sly in D. We have most of the players here in C. Beige. What is his online name? What is Shane's online name? I don't remember. Leroy, Killer Season, LG Kyomel, Nick the Prick, aka Yato God. In B, we have Metagoken, King Bubbles #1, RJ Bim, and Lord Fabulous. In A, we have Lord Glass. Oh dear, Lord Glass. Oh no. What are you doing now? Not Lord Glass. He's gonna take that and run with it now. Anyways, we have Mr. Glass and one Overboss, the notorious, the infamous Overboss. And up here in the S tier, we have Lamar, who is really by far the stronger of the players here. So that being said, that is the end of this video. You know, shout outs to High Noon Gaming and shout outs to the new Retro Cafe Gaming Lounge. I want you to really see if you can come and support the guys and get the scene going. We have some big plans in store. Without any further ado, I'm going to end this video here. Please be sure to drop your opinions in the comment section, and let's get some discussion going. I think a bit later I'm going to put out one for the Tekken players. That being said, RJ Bim signing out.